Hello and welcome back to the Ancient Book Review. Today I have another book that is not ancient. It is a book that is actually set in the future. Shadow and Claw, which is somewhat misleading. This is actually a four-part one book that is also in two different books. And it goes by many different names. It's the Book of the New Sun is what both of them together are. And you can buy these. This is the first one. This is the second one. Read them in order, right? But the first one that you can buy at any Barnes & Noble, Shadow and Claw by Wolfe, who is a phenomenal writer. This is a future fantasy, end of the world thing, but it's not like what you're probably thinking. It is very good. Very well written, very fun to read, very deep, very fanciful. Read it. You should read it. Everybody should read it. It's a good book. Read it. That's my official diagnosis. What is it about? It's about this guy who is part of the Torturers Guild. He's basically he's a torturer. He's an executioner, basically. And he takes a lot of pride in that. And it's his journey around the world in the far future when the world is about to die. So it's all got all sorts of... It has some alien stuff, but not much, especially in this one. And but it's very deep. It talks about time in ways that you're not used to. All sorts of just really cool things. I don't want to spoil too much for you. It is also part of even more books that follow it, so you will have quite a bit of reading material. It's not that bad, and the chapters are actually relatively short, which I like because I can just one more chapter, and so like 15 minutes or so. Wolfe is a phenomenal writer. I'll be reviewing much more of his work in the future. I finished that one. And I finished the sequel. And these are actually, they have two different names because it's actually one book that's sold as two books, but it's actually four books. Sequel is just as good, just as well written. Many fantastic revelations. Then there's also The Earth of the New Sun. There's the Book of the New Sun, Earth of the New Sun. You can look this all up on Wikipedia to his bibliography, which I might just read through. I'm currently reading through Jack Vance's as well. Earth of the New Sun continues the saga with the same guy. Then there's the Book of the Long Sun. Then there's the Book of the Short Sun. And those are all a continuation, although the other ones don't have the same character. Severin. And basically I don't want to spoil too much, but it has some prophecy and stuff in it as well. It's really cool. Without giving too much else away, review should include probably a quote. So I highlight stuff in books that I'm reading, and I'll just skim through and see if I have anything. If not, play their Lord without hindrance if they so desired. Like most peons, he could conceive of no more than one social class higher than his own. And get kind of snarky here. Basically, that's saying people aren't really looking at like a middle class person judges or looks at or whatever a rich person who's really only like lower upper class. They're not thinking Bill Gates and stuff when they're comparing themselves. That's a fun little tidbit. It's a little bit more complicated written than Jack Vance's work. There's big words in there. So for those of you not inclined or not used to reading actual books, it might not be a first beginner, but feel like an adult that's just getting back into reading. But it is engaging enough that it might drive you to come to the challenge of reading it. So that's good. So it might work anyways, even if you don't read much at all and you just decide to read this book. You might still like it because it's engaging enough that it will push you to understand it. Although you might need to get a dictionary from time to time. Well, that's the review. It's a good book.